Stop it. That's the cat I'm saying stop it to. I don't think anyone's watching me anyway, but... Get out. This is the cause of all the trouble. Anyway, I'm just testing, really. We'll see what happens. I spoke to Andy, he's busy visiting his folks. So this isn't a proper happy coding stream, this is just me and the cat. Just a second. Hello, hello. Hey, some people turned up, that's nice. Hello, guys. Don't be shy, say hello. Who we got? Who's a lurking? Hey, Graham. Merry Christmas to you. Nice to see you, sir. And I think we met at Crash, didn't we? I do seem to recall. We had a brief chat. So yeah, well listen, I haven't been on this thing for ages, right? Obviously I went to England and then, just getting back. Oh, so it must have been another Graham maybe that. Yes, if you hear any strange noises, this is why. This is why. She's a pest. As you can see. Stop that. I've taken it. I used to have this big barrier here for her to stop her coming in, and she's a little bit older and a little bit less manic. So I'm trying to manage without now. Anyway, who else we got here? It doesn't tell me. It says there are 3 other people, apart from you, Graham. 2 other people apart from you. Yeah. So I've just been doing a bit of coding. Doing a bit of teaching, doing a bit of chilling, just getting myself back in the swing really. I've been doing this mod for Attic Attack, just kind of fun, and don't have it on this computer, but or do I? Maybe I do. Thinking about it, maybe I do. Haven't really done all that much with it though, really. Kind of fun thing though. Yeah, I don't think I've got the code here. Oh, I might do. Let's see. But I don't know. I mean, I've got. Yeah, I think I do have it. If you want, I can show you it. Or I can just play some games and just chat for a bit. Whatever you prefer. I know, right? Yeah, Attic Attack it's really good. I was thinking about this the other day, right? And I thought, yeah, well, unless the price is lower than the competition, as in 0, then I'm really not interested. But good luck for you, Mr. Murabechi ABX. But yeah, if you offer again, I will just have to bump you off, I'm afraid. So thank you very much for your interest. But that's the end of that. You're probably just a bot anyway. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, Attic Attack, right? I was thinking, why is it so much fun still? It still kind of holds up. And not many of the, not many Spectrum games do, to be honest, really hold up to modern standards. If you compare them to sort of indie games. Unless you're getting that kind of nostalgia hit, then the average person who hadn't played those games before probably wouldn't get much of a kick out of them, you know. But I think Attic Attack, quite possibly they would, you know, Jetpack 2, maybe some of the other early arcade games. And I was thinking, you know, why would that be? And I think, honestly, I think it's just the fact that it's fast, you know. It's fast, it's simple, it's you know, it's pick up and play, instant, and those are the kind of games that can still stand up today, right? I mean, essentially they're kind of casual, aren't they? They're pretty casual games, and that's probably the reason they stand up, because you immediately understand what you have to do. You go straight in, you play, and yeah, and it's fast. I mean, if you compare it to, say, Night Law, right, which just runs so slowly, it's just, you know, at the time it's like, wow, amazing graphics, right? But that was then, and amazing graphics aren't going to cut it. You know, Resident Evil on the PlayStation had amazing graphics. Doesn't look very good now, though, does it? But that playability, that speed, that kind of running around, frantically running around, really makes a difference, you know? Yeah, and that's the same thing that I try to do with the games that I write as well. I try to make sure that they have that kind of speed and smoothness, because there's so much to choose from, isn't there? So, I mean, there are games out there that still stand the test of time, but for me, you know, old, what we call retro games, I mean, I hesitate to use that word myself, but classic games, you know, Donkey Kong and Pac-Man and all of those, they're kind of timeless, because they are fast and smooth and they're easy to learn, you know. When you start to try and play games, a lot of Spectrum games, including homebrew as well, you know, you've got that kind of wander around sort of thing, and you know, just the fact that you use the word wander tells you quite a bit about the speed of the game, doesn't it? The fact that you're wandering rather than you know, running around exploring quickly, manically, let's say. I mean, I was playing Metroid. I was playing Metroid, what's it called? Metroid Zero Mission, right? It's a remake of the original Metroid on the GBA, and I was playing it on an emulator on the PS Vita. So a remake of an NES game on the GBA emulated on the PS Vita. But absolutely fantastic game, you know. So fast and smooth. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Arcade games, yeah, exactly right. But the NES games, a lot of the NES games had that as well. You know, any of those kind of Miyamoto games, even Zelda, you know, I mean, certainly the Mario series and various others. You know, the sort of NES classics, like Excite Bike, or trying to think, what's that other one? Kid Icarus, things like that. Again, you know, it's just pure gaming, isn't it? It's, I mean, that's the fun and I suppose the fallback of the Spectrum is the fact that you kind of it's not easy to get games to run fast and smooth like that. So yeah, you know, I mean, like I said, I mean, I'm not knocking playing Spectrum games for the sort of nostalgia factor, you know, if that's your thing. And I'm not totally sort of immune to that myself, but there's so many games to play, you know, hundreds and millions, I don't know, hundreds of thousands, isn't there, of games that you can play on all different systems. I mean, I've always been a gamer first, Spectrum second, really. I mean, I love coding on the Spectrum because it's so simple, it's so kind of raw, you know. It's that kind of, it's just a processor and the memory, and that's pretty much it. There's no hardware support, nothing. It's just, you code it and it does it, and you don't get any help, and that's kind of fun to then take that and make something that is really fun and fast and smooth. It's a big challenge, and to do it really properly, you do need to use a lot of memory, and so you can only do these fairly simple games at that level. And of course, at that time, the gaming was advancing so quickly, right? Obviously, we're getting a lot of advances even today, but in those days, the speed at which it was changing in terms of single screen and then scrolling and then multiple maps and levels and then boss fights and all these different things that started coming along. Every new game had to have some kind of new sort of shtick, that was really, really competitive in the arcades, and that's a really interesting environment for games to develop in. And of course, the more you push that, the more difficult it was to do that on the Spectrum. And so it pretty quickly got to the point, probably by about 85, where you could, they were trying to keep up, but the games just weren't. But the games were not as good as in the arcade. They were slower, and they didn't have the same colors, of course, and so on, right? So. Yeah, absolutely. It's a sort of Zen quality, isn't it? Really, it's that's really the thing that's really my bag. You're talking my language there, really. That the early classics, and not just on the Spectrum. Atari 2600 as well, ColecoVision, and of course the arcades. There is that kind of Zen quality and that kind of put 10p in and get 5 minutes, 10 minutes, if you're lucky, if you're good, on a single game, and then, poof, game over, jump to another one, right? I mean, sometimes people use the idea of casual gaming as associated with phone gaming, and it's like, it's not like real gaming, it's not hardcore gaming or whatever, but, an arcade it's a casual place, isn't it? You don't go in, certainly in the golden era, you don't go in there and play one game the whole time that you're there for like 2 hours. You're going to be jumping around all of them, unless it's like the I suppose there were times with certain games like I guess when Space Invaders came out, that was the only show in town. It was such a different. It was just something so different. Same with Pac-Man as well, probably. Street Fighter 2 probably as well later, where everybody wanted to play that. And you'd go in the arcade and there would be all the other machines, and then there'd just be a big crowd around the Street Fighter 2 or whatever. Yeah, absolutely. And even Pong, you can play Pong. A two-player game, you can happily sort of play a game of Pong. A couple of kids, even now, would probably enjoy it. It's a simple enough concept, and why not? Yeah. I don't know how old you are, Graham, if you were around at the time, but I can sort of vaguely remember the birth of the arcades. I was pretty young, but that was really exciting because that was like our thing. That was like, yeah, this is our thing. It's like rock and roll. For the previous generation, they had rock and roll. Like the Beatles and the Stones and all this sort of stuff, and no one had really heard music like that before. It was a totally new cultural phenomenon, and I think the video games was like that for us, especially if you were a little bit geeky, because it wasn't snobbish, it wasn't the kind of thing where if you weren't cool you couldn't play it. In fact, it was just the opposite. Quite often it was, if you were geeky and not very cool, that you would you'd be the one that played the games, or you'd know how to to play them or even write them, right? So a lot of kids became a lot cooler in the playground than they probably would have been. Yeah, well, I'm 53, and well, you know, I mean, I actually lived abroad for quite a lot of the time, but when I was in the UK, um, yeah, I certainly have a good I have a good memory of going to Morecambe and Blackpool, which are two northern seaside resorts. Had a lot of arcade games back then, and fish and chips. Maybe certainly the seaside, the you know, the sea and the seagulls and stuff. I would certainly do that, but I think probably more than anything, I think it makes me think of like dark rooms full of smoke, a lot of kids a little bit older than me, um, and them still being quite impressed because sometimes I'd be better than them at some of the games, you know, and that was kind of fun. But yeah, the arcades is what it's all about, really, for me. It always has been my first love, you know. I would fall out with people because um, I wouldn't want to do anything else, right? I wouldn't. Yeah, let's go and play football. Nah, I'm going down the arcade. Well, where I'll go and play football. Nah, I'll go by myself. I don't care, you know. So I used to do that. Just use up all my 10p's on that, you know. And if I was out, I mean, my dad used to try and make me play squash. He used to take me to the squash club, and I used to go, but because they had Mooncrester, and I absolutely love Mooncrester, and yeah, and pinball too. I can, even the holidays I remember. I said, oh yeah, we went to Cyprus. What do I remember the most? There was a pinball machine in one of the restaurants, and I loved it. You know, that's my main memory. We went to Austria, and they had Donkey Kong Jr. and Ghouls and Ghosts and Goblins in the hotel where we stayed, and that was more interesting to me than the Tyrrell Valley. You know, at the time, it's a shameful thing to say, isn't it? Really, but yeah. But I'm not really one for nostalgia. Honestly, I think they're great games, and I still do now. You know, if I play them now, it's because um, it hits the same spot as it did then. You know, it's exactly the same thing. It's not a case of me going back and because I don't play many Spectrum games. I used to, you know, love Spectrum games, and there are some really good ones. But very few of them. Let's say I'm not going to say none, but very few of them have aged all that well. You know, in the especially in the light of what you have available, right? So I used to love the Spectrum. I would play the arcade conversions on the Spectrum um, because I loved arcade games, right? But then once you've got something like MAME, you wouldn't. Why would you bother playing any of those games on the Spectrum? I mean, even some really good ones. You know, I used to play the bejesus out of Commando and Bomb Jack, and you know, I remember Elite came out with a whole series of pretty decent arcade conversions. Um, but I'd always play the arcade one now for sure if I had a choice. But you know, and it's funny because I was talking about Mooncrester. Yeah, I think it's surely one of the best arcade conversions on the Spectrum, Mooncrester, given the limitations and given what I know now in terms of coding. It's really impressive, you know, for the time especially. And probably worth putting on actually. Yeah, I know that one, and the other one. I mean, there's a game Phoenix as well. Phoenix on the Spectrum was also really, really good. I mean, you have to make some allowances. I still think you could probably do, I don't want to say I could do a better version of Mooncrester, but I think you probably could do a better version of Mooncrester on the Spectrum now if you did it on 1:8 and you used 1:8 sounds. I think that would make a pretty big difference, because the beeper on the Spectrum is just the absolute killer of because every time you use the beeper, it stops the processor dead. So you really struggle to put beeper on there. Yeah. I'll stick on Mooncrester if I can find it. I can just hear that sound, you know. See it into my brain, you know. You can get a lot of fun and thrill. One of the very first, I may be wrong to say that Hunchback was the first arcade conversion for the Spectrum. It could have been official, let's say. But this was a very early one as well. And this is not 1985, but then yeah. So I mean, the peak where you could this is like the sweet spot where the arcade games were still simple enough for the Spectrum to do a decent version. You know, once you go even a year later than that, they've moved on, right? Anything that scrolls, it's just killing it. It just kills it for the Spectrum. You know, you have to dedicate so much of the processor to doing that it makes it really tough to make a decent game. Not that people haven't made decent games, but there's always a compromise, isn't there? So let me just see if this is. Let me see what I can do with this. I think it's quite good that I play this. Get used to the old OBS again. Just get a feel for it. Yeah, you see. So I mean, this part, right? It just looks like the arcade, doesn't it? You know, you got this. You see, that's as you imagine that might be scrolling. That isn't scrolling. That's just the dots. You know, so it's not full screen scrolling. They'll just be doing dots on there. You know, the first thing that I notice about this, and this is just for me from a coding point of view, is you see how they've got this full screen there. Did you see how when it loops around? You've got this, and then you've got that there, right? So that's stored in memory. This is 48K. That's stored in memory, right? That tells me that there is a compressed image, probably compressed. I don't know how compressed, but it might not even be compressed. They might have had they might have not needed all that memory, which then says to me, right, well, if that's the case, then you can make use of that memory, right? That means you can potentially take out all the sounds and then replace them with AY sounds, for example, you know, things like that. But at the time, yeah, I mean, I felt like this was very, very close to the arcade. I guess I'll redefine keyboard. Okay. I don't know if I've got sound on or not. See, I noticed that I learned that if you stay still on these early levels, you can really just cane it like that. Damn, that's a really good sound effect for the beeper, isn't it? I thought it was you just have to sit still and you usually clear it. But I always felt like this was a bit of a... I seem like such a pro, don't I, the way I landed that. I should have moved. Once you got this big clunky one at the end, you're in big trouble. Dirty cheat. He just materialized. Yeah. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Uh-oh. Look, here comes trouble. What do you want? What are you doing? Huh? Go on, get down. Go on. Yeah. Anyway, that's Mooncrester. I think I did all right actually there. Not too bad. Is it? Oh yeah, that works. It's great, isn't it? The word you used to get that in the arcade. Rub to clear the screen, to clear your entry, because it was 3 letters. So you could fit it into a couple of bytes, you know. Useless. When they're full circle, when they haven't been hit, they won't bother you very much. Sorry, no bonus. Also, no ship. Those sneaky ones are really not. What do you want? Huh? What do you want? You're not going over there. No. No, 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 no. Any requests? Just give me a second. I'm going to let my put a post on Patreon as well, just see if anyone turns up. I'm not planning on staying too late. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see she's really a pest. You're gonna go in the bedroom if you keep this up. Be interesting to see have a look at the code and see where it loads that screen. And I didn't know that it loaded that screen. That's a lot of memory, so it would give you quite a bit of space, to sort of play with. You have a look on here. Yeah, look, it's running interrupts in mode 2. F5 is that's where the interrupt is. That's at the top of the memory somewhere. So it's probably running the keyboard routines and a few other bits on there. But yeah, very good arcade conversion, isn't it? Right. Still there, Graham? Any suggestions? Let's stick another one on. Early arcade conversions. So this is 1983. This runs on 16K, which is great, is that AGF stick? Is that the same as Protec? I think so. I'll give it a go. Yeah, don't let that put you off, because that probably would, and you can't skip it. But underneath it is a pretty good game. So interestingly, this game uses it's a little bit jerky, but it makes up for it because obviously you've got you don't have any attribute clash on the birds. I'm useless. Hello, Sarawatakato, yes. I'm struggling with these controls, but I'll stick with it. Let's just skip that. Double speed, triple speed. That'd be a nice hack, wouldn't it? To skip that. If you press fire, that would be nice, because it's that you just. I mean, it does it in the arcade as well, but look at that! Look at that little one down there, hanging out on the lowest level. Sneaky little sod. Look at him. What's he doing? Yeah, the trick is to sort of make a gap in the middle, so you can just hang out in the middle section here, and then just, you know, sneak in like that. Let them. Useless, aren't I? Didn't even hit one. You got to hit them spot on. Yeah, I remember my mate was really good at this. They really lay those fires on thick, don't they? Those bullets. Pot luck, isn't it, really, I suppose. I'm quite enjoying it, though. Let's put it on level 5. Whoa, 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 whoa. What's going on? Have I not put the control? Have I got it on double speed or something? No, this is on normal. Oh, this is level 5 at normal speed. Look at that. Look how fast it is. So basically, the difficulty level, it's just Mega fast. Wow. Wow, that's tough. Yeah. Oh, you can skip it. All that time, all those years, I thought you couldn't skip it. Oh, that's ridiculous, isn't it? Look at that. How are you supposed to... Level 5. Let me see. Can I get to the big birds on level 5? Oh, it's murder. It's absolute murder. Look at that. It's ridiculous. I'd have more of a chance if I liked the controls. At the moment, I don't like the controls. I wonder what the keyboard controls are. Alright. Oh no. Shift and Z, that's... Oh, there's a barrier. Okay. I'm on level 5. You see, it's amazing what difference the more intuitive controls can make, isn't it? Look at the speed of those bullets. Excuse me, I nearly was one away. Okay. Yeah. That's really fun though. For the time, that's just absolutely superb. What do you want? You pest. Okay, I'm going to do one more. We'll see if anyone else turns up. One of my favourite arcade ports has got to be Wild West Hero. Wow, some of the names of the games in here. Wheeler Dealer. The Western Girl. What on earth is that? The Western Girl. The Western Girl by Susie Soft. It sounds dodgy, doesn't it? Get out of there. Ah, she's just too much of a pest. It's just that there's electrics behind there, you know, it's a bit of a worry, so. Anyway, The Western Girl by Susie Soft. I don't want to put it on the... it's from Croatia. And I just want to make sure that it's not... I wasn't going to play it, but... I don't speak Croatian. Desno. Livo, that's probably left, isn't it? Skok, is that down? Fatra, fire. it's a kind of like that wasn't terrible. Do you recognise the tune, anyone? Do you recognise that tune? Because I do. Alright. It's not a terrible game. I think, well, you know, I don't know. Kind of difficult to know if I've chosen the right controls. It feels like a sort of cross between Sunset Riders and Kung Fu Master. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that music is Technotronic. Get Up by Technotronic. Well, you know, a sort of pastiche or rip-off of that. But anyway, that was The Western Girl. I wasn't planning on playing that, but it just sounded interesting. Yeah, but it's really when you look at the W's, the names of the names of the games that begin with W are actually really quite interesting. I'll just read a few out, right? Just to prove my point. So you've got Wacky Darts, Walls of Suspense, War of the Worlds. I'm just reading a few out that sound, you know. Wars of the Roses, Way of the Exploding Fist, of course. And then you've got things like Weetabix versus the Titchies, A Week in the Life of the Thing. What is that? Wembley Greyhounds. Sounds like some old basic game, doesn't it? I bet it is. Werewolves of London, which is, again, not a bad game, I think, but spoilt a little bit just because the spectrum is it's too ambitious. West Bank is a really good arcade clone of Bank Panic. That's a good one. Wheelie, of course. Where Time Stood Still. Who Dares Wins is a kind of Commando clone, I think. But we're not here to play those. And of course, The Wild Bunch, another good game. You've got Winer Millie, which I suppose is some kind of Minor Willie clone. Wizard's Lair, some pretty good games. And of course the legendary World Cup Carnival. But anyway, we're here to play Wildest Hero. Again, 1983. Some people really knew their apples. Right. I don't know if I can get the controls on this. Space to go right, symbol shift left, D and A. Or Q and A, up and down. That's fiddly, isn't it? Alright, we'll give it a go. So fiddly, these controls, ridiculous. Probably alright. I can't handle those controls. Really, really awkward on here, as you could probably tell. I don't have my controller program. Went in the wrong direction because of the keys. Same again. Totally non-intuitive. Very good game though, isn't it? I don't know. I do have a controller here. I don't know. I mean, a couple more people have rolled up, so perhaps it's worth. Yeah, I'm just talking about arcade conversions really, and I thought we'd just play a few. Obviously, this one is Robotron 2084, and for 1983, that's amazing, isn't it? Really, has to be said. Let's see if oh, I can do keyboard joystick as well. That's not a bad idea. Let's see if that works. I don't know if it will. Kind of working, yeah. Wow. They're so fast. Embarrassing. Yeah, so that is another really good early example of a really good arcade conversion. I believe that the guy who wrote that actually went on. He was approached by. I'm going to guess it was Williams, but I don't know for sure. And they said, look, we don't like this game. You should take it down or whatever. I don't know. Or you can just mod it and turn it into the real Robotron, and we'll release it. Now, if that was me, I'd be super excited to be able to do that. So I certainly would have agreed. But I don't think it was actually ever released officially. Atari Soft. Was it officially released? I don't know, but you can compare the two and you'll see that they are basically the same game. I mean, look, everything's obviously, that game was based on Robotron, so it makes sense. At least they've gone for the more sensible QAOP in this game. We'll pick the Kempston joystick though. Look at that, that's nice, isn't it? Really hard to see what you're doing and where you are. Oh, that doesn't look right, does it? Something not right there. For some reason it switched to Pentagon. That's probably when I had that Western Girl game playing, I'm gonna guess. That'll explain why that happened. Oops. Timing issues on this are weird, aren't they? Wow, that's tough. All right. If you want me to try any others, I'll start on A and I'll see if I can see okay, I think this is Ad Astra is a kind of arcade clone, isn't it? Kind of cool they made that effect there. To the stars. Or is this like Star Trek? This is like Mad Planets. Oh, Mega Apocalypse, you could play that. That's a arcade conversion as well. I'd recommend that. Ah. What am I supposed to do? Whatever I'm supposed to do, I'm not doing it well. Interesting, isn't it? Yeah, look, some ships are turning up now. Yes. Well, you'll find generally that when I'm picking games out, it's usually things that have where the code is interesting, because I'm obviously a coder, so it's kind of like some interesting stuff going on. And again, this has got a lot of movement where you're just moving within the 8 pixel squares so that you don't get a lot of attribute clash. That's kind of cool though, isn't it? Before they kind of moved on, Gargoyle Games, before they moved on with Tyrn and Nog and stuff like that. Let me yeah, one of my favourite arcade games is called Mad Planets, and it uses a controller, a fairly unique controller, not absolutely unique, but it has it's a joystick, but you can also spin it, so you can move your ship and then you can turn, which makes it pretty cool. But obviously that wasn't replicated in home versions. So I'll put on Mega Apocalypse, and then I'm going to commit the horrible sin of telling you that the Commodore 64 version is better, but nevertheless, this is 1988, so it's quite a step forward. It's no good, was it? I chose the 128K version, and the computer said no. Try this one. No. Okay, I'll try the re-release, because that's probably 128K. Here we go. Music's really good on this though. In general, this is a really good game, if you haven't played it. completely forgotten the controls on this game. So what you do is it shoots automatically, and you use the button to rotate. So that's how you get the spinner on, like similar to Mad Planets. So yeah, the Starfield effect's nice, isn't it? It does feel like a little bit like a game squeezed into a demo, or a demo disguised as a game sort of thing, but nevertheless. Anyway, now that I've got that control scheme understood, I think we might be able to play it a bit better. Let's oh, maybe not. I'm confused because I'm wondering if I have picked a control scheme there, which the first time I could rotate the ship, second time I couldn't. So no, I don't know what that's all about. Turn the sound off now. Oh, I'm back in. Yeah, oh, now I can rotate it, look. I sort of double clicked. Right. Yeah, you see, this is how the game's meant to be played. It's like you're supposed to be able to rotate your ship like this. Makes it a lot easier. No, look, I can't rotate it again now. Must be something in the controls where maybe you can use the keyboard or something. Hey, Sebastian. Merry Christmas. Yeah, so sorry I couldn't make it in the end. Guys, I was in Germany for about a week, and I was in Frankfurt. And I was, I don't know, a few hundred kilometers away from where Sebastian is, and I was going to come and visit him for the day, but it was like €100, and I was like, blimey, you know, I do like you, Seb, but €100 is ridiculous to just come for a few hours. And it was okay because, you know what, neither of us were feeling that well. So anyway, we ended up not hooking up, but never mind. I had a nice time in Germany, but I was just generally coming back to Europe after being away for 3 years. was really pretty shocked at how expensive everything was. It was a big surprise to me, you know. But anyway, yeah, this is Mega Apocalypse. If you like the look of this game and you want to play the definitive version of it, I'm going to say play Mad Planets, because it is a really great game. In fact, I might have a look and see if I've got it on here, on this disk drive. I might have it. And I mean arcade, I don't mean let's have a look. Arcade. I have to add the window, but yeah, so that game was called Mega Apocalypse, and highly recommended. But I'm playing not sort of unofficial or slightly official arcade conversions, which is kind of what I do myself, right? So I write those. So I'm playing some of those that are not properly licensed, probably, or just like the best versions, the ones that I remember playing at the time as being really good. We'll see if we can get Mad Planets up though, just to show you, because it's not a very well-known game. But it's one of my personal favourites from that era. Especially if you can get a good controller. If you can get a spin controller, or perhaps I can configure it, you know. Yeah, okay, let's have a look. The ROM's not found. Well, yeah, 3D Star Strike. Very well-known game though, isn't it? I think everybody knows about it. It's good though. Let's just see if I can find Mad Planets. Let's have a look. I haven't played it for so long, it'd be nice to have a look at it. I used to have a cocktail cabinet, converted an old arcade game that was all knackered and didn't have any monitor in it, a cocktail cabinet, and yeah, well no, apparently I do have it, but for some reason it's not coming up on here. Well, I don't give up so easily. Let's see. Sorry, I'll just check the chat. I haven't been checking it. Oh, 3D Star Strike. Yeah. Oh, I could try that. Yeah, with the higher frame rate. Yeah, that sounds good. I will. Okay, I'll make a note of that. What have I done? Got to be a quicker way of going through these. Just thinking the other day, you know, people, they collect all these ROMs and they go, oh yeah, I've got 10,000 games, oh, I've got 50,000 games on this thing, and it's like, yeah, but you're never going to play them, are you? You just like the idea that you like the idea of having them, but you never play them. You're better off having a smaller collection of stuff you're really into, you know, like collecting records. Collect stuff that you like. That's what I think. Then again, each to their own, right? People can do what they want. I mean, I've got all the specky stuff on here. I never play it, very rarely. I just have it on here because if I go on stream, someone asks me for a game, I know I can find it. So I guess that's kind of good. I guess that, yeah, perhaps I'm correcting myself, because you can just randomly discover stuff if you've got a big collection. So I guess that makes sense. Is anything going on with this one? I've tried to load it. I tried to load it into RetroArch, but it hasn't worked. I don't really know what I've got set up on this laptop at all, but okay. I like the idea of Star Strike and pumping up the old Z80 up to 14 megahertz. Hopefully it's got it'll probably be under numbers 3D, won't it? It is just called Star Strike, right? Like Death Chase, it's just called Star Strike. Everyone calls it 3D, but I think it's just called Star Strike. The same with Death Chase. Everyone thinks it's called Death Chase, but is that the case, or is it actually called 3D Star Strike, or is it just one of those? Thing, I don't know. What did it say on the loader there? Couldn't see. Didn't happen too quick. Well, anyway, I'm going to reload it so we'll have a chance to look. Okay, it's running at 14 megahertz now. Does it matter? There you go, 3D Star Strike. Okay. Let's see how this thing runs. At 14 megahertz. I better put it on easy, hadn't I? Whoa, yo, 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 yo. Look at that. That's a little bit too much, isn't it? 14. Mind you, Yeah, I think 7 might be a good choice. This is mental. All right. I'm just smashing into stuff. I'll just stay in the middle, I think. Wait. Look at that. Can I destroy it? Oh, you got no chance, have you there? No chance. Well, okay, that's too fast. That's way too fast. Yeah, 7 sounds good. That was easy mode as well. I'm not used to the reverse controls. That's my excuse. You'd be forgiven for thinking I was trying to... You'd be forgiven for thinking I was trying to hit those things. We should compare it to the official one, and we'll put the official one on 7 megahertz as well. Having some fun with this though, enjoying it. This is really bloody hard, this though, isn't it? It's just too quick. Get in. Sit down. Boom! Nice effect. To be fair, it still goes at a decent clip, you know, even on 3.5. I mean, I'll put it on 3.5. We'll see. Maybe not. Yeah, that struggles, doesn't it? Once you've seen the previous one. Well, that was good. I mean, it was good at the start of this stream. Graham was on. I don't know if Graham's still here, but I was saying the thing that lets the Spectrum down is that you get the games, but a lot of them, they're trying to do something that the Spectrum really just can't do, and the compromise is that they run at 25 frames a second or even 12 frames a second, and it's well, it's not really good enough given what we have at our disposal. You know, the options that we have. You know, it was good enough then, but it's not good enough now. If you want to enjoy a game, it's you know, you can get so much better. The choices that you have, it's not like back then you could just go and I'll get the arcade machine like you can now, just boot it up and run it. The difference when you actually play the arcade machine is really quite noticeable. I mean, the actual arcade with the proper vector graphics and everything. But anyway, let's take a look at what time is it here? It's 3:30. I'm not going to stay up too late, guys. But let's take a look at Star Wars. Since we're doing arcade conversions, we'll take a look at it. Sorry, I've just got so many games on here. I'm scrolling through. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna take a look at this one, Space Duel, because I'm curious. Is that actually the arcade game, Space Duel? Those of you that know arcade games, I don't know how to run it. Is it just run? I wonder if it's a conversion of the Atari game. Space Duel is a great game. It's like a sequel to Asteroids, in a sense, but it's usually done with 2 players. Okay, well, this is not the Atari game. Okay, well, that's some sort of 2-player gunfight. That was running at 3.5 megahertz though. It was pretty smooth, wasn't it? Anyway, that was a distraction. Yeah, 3D Tanks does run really well. You're right. I did a mod for 3D Tanks so that can't remember what it was, so that you could move when you weren't firing or something. I can't remember, but it made it a bit more playable anyway. There's little oversights that happen. 3D Tanks written by Don Priestley, I think it was. Anyway, Space Duel is not worth a look, but if you want to play Space Duel on MAME, I'm going to say, yeah, check it out. It's really good, especially if you have 2 players, because I think you can play where you're sort of 2 different ships. You control a ship each, but you're connected by a sort of bungee rope. So you have to work together to destroy the various aliens, which are a bit like asteroids. I mean, I don't know if Space Duel is considered even to be a sequel to Asteroids. It might be. It's a direct it says here, it's a direct descendant of the original Asteroids, with asteroids replaced by geometric shapes. Space Duel is the first and only multiplayer vector game by Atari. When Asteroids Deluxe did not sell well, this game was taken off the shelf and released to moderate success. Yeah. If you want to play this game, you can of course play it on MAME. It's also on the Atari anthology, amongst others. It's probably on that Atari 50 collection, you would imagine. Generally a good one to check out. Now, in the meantime, let's take a look. Look at that break continue. Right. Play it on regular first, right? Here we go. Oh, that runs like a dog, doesn't it? Look at that, it's terrible. Wow. Okay. I guess it's all right, but not very good. This one feels like it would benefit from being even at 14 megahertz, doesn't it? Depends on exactly how it's coded, you know. If you give if it's done with interrupt timings, then what you do is you'll keep the same. Effectively, you'll keep the game speed will be the same, but you'll have a lot more calculations done within one raster cycle, which means that it can update itself a lot better. So this is pretty pants, isn't it? This is not good. So let's pump up the volume, so to speak. Let's go to, should we go 7 or 14? I'll go 7 for now. Oh yeah, now that, you can see, the game is playing at the same speed, isn't it? But, don't know why we don't have sound though. Oh, that's miles better, isn't it? In fact, that makes me think crank it up to 14, because it looks like it's the calculations, the timings and stuff, so you give it all the time in the world if you crank it up to 14. Wow, look at that. That's so much better, isn't it? Let's see. Look at that. The stream is catching up. You'll have to wait and see. Look, there you go. Look, you can see. Yeah. Wow, that's miles better, isn't it? It's really good. Red 5 standing by. Come on, let's go. Come on, I'm pressing fire. Here we go. Oh wow, look at this. This is really good. This is at 14 megahertz. If you have a Spectrum Next, you can play this like this as well. That is really good, isn't it? Look how smooth it is. I just don't know what's happened with the sound. That, to me, that's I'm not, of course it's not as good as the arcade, but that is good. That's better than Star Strike at that speed. Now, of course, Star Strike did a better job at 3.5, but that at that speed is lovely, isn't it? Look at that. That's really good. I just don't know what's happened to the sound though. Could it be? Okay, let me just see what I'm doing here. See if we can get. Does it have AY sound? It'd be nice if it did, wouldn't it? Then that'd be the icing on the cake, really. Let's see. think this is still in 48k though, with 48k sounds. That sounded like 48k. I hope it was, and they were probably squeaky, right, because of the 14 megahertz. Almost certainly. But anyway, let's see. You see that flying off, and you can hear the music, can't you, in your head? Dun. Let's go. Pull trigger to start. Yeah, I'm pressing the button. Yeah, I'm pressing the... Oh, what have I done? I pressed all the buttons at once and I've managed to reset it. I'll try a different version. I'll try the disc version, because that surely... You'd think that would have AI music, wouldn't you? But apparently not. Interesting, the speech on this, it used a special, here we go, used a special synthesizer that was able to reproduce human-like voices, and you know, of various people. I think it was used on the BBC Micro as well, and for the time, it really was good. You know, you would be fooled, probably. I certainly was, to thinking that it was some kind of really low bandwidth kind of samples, but it wasn't. It was actually synthesized speech. Yeah, that's really nice, isn't it? Difficult though, but really smooth. Like that doesn't, you wouldn't think that was on the Spectrum at all, would you? And obviously it's not, because it's running at 4 times the normal speed with the four times processor speed. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I'll stick one more on and then we'll call it a night. If you've got any suggestions, arcade conversions, or I'll just dig one out. You know, I can dig one out at random. But I'd rather not go for the most obvious things, you know, like Bomb Jack or stuff like that. You know, like more sort of slightly obscure. Like, for example, I don't know if you played Kong Strikes Back on the Spectrum, but that's basically Mr. Do's Wild Ride. And again, at the time, I thought, I think it's John Rittman as well. Someone just mentioned John Rittman, didn't he? Scott, yeah. I think it's a John Rittman game. Or is it Joffa Smith? Yeah, it's Joffa Smith, beg your pardon. Yes, of course it is. Right. So this is a conversion of Mr. Do. Mr. Do's Wild Ride. Kempston. There can be no other. Press R to redefine keys. It's interesting how it's not intuitive. You see, choose your joystick, but then you have to press. Yes, I'm ready. So this game. Are we on? Am I still on 14 megahertz? Wait, let me get up there. Okay, wait for that. Okay. Oh, there's another one coming. Am I going to make it? It's going to be close. Look at Pauline or whoever it is. Look at the state of her. Can I get to her in time? I can. She looks like a plant. She looks like some sort of turnip or something. Now this game, I would say, would benefit, assuming, let me just check, am I on, what megahertz am I on here? Yeah, this is at 14 megahertz, so this is not really gaining much from that. Well, let's put it down and see if it actually is, because it might be. Yeah, it's not really, is it? We're just getting the same, but now we're getting the sound effects sounding a bit better. It's more or less the same game. This is a good game, this, good conversion. Yeah, I forgot you could slide down those. But this game I think might benefit from us just instead. I think there's an option to just double the speed, right? Two times speed, which is not the same as increasing the processor. Yeah, now we're going to get a real good arcade experience. Oh yeah, this is fun. This is tricky now. Yay! No, I can't make it. That thing's after me. I guess I should have thrown a bomb. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Go on, I'll wait for those three to go past. Yeah, so this is a good one. Oh, there he is, look. The big ugly sod. Look at the state of him. No, climb. That's a nice effect, isn't it? Oh, so close. So close. Wow. But yeah, that's a nice effect, that bonus thing. Okay guys, I'm going to call it a night. I've been hanging out for an hour or so, I think, I don't know, but anyway, just wanted to get a feel for it, get back into it. Well, I'm going to see my wife's family in a couple of days, and I'll be there till the new year. When I come back, I'll talk to Andy and we'll get back with the old streaming again, I think, because it is fun. It's a nice little social thing. We'll start doing a bit more coding. In the meantime, thanks for popping in. It was nice to see you guys and catch up, and I will be back very soon. Have a great new year. Take care. See ya. And always, happy coding. Bye-bye.